Good evening, friends. This side Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak, Treasury Consulting Group is a multinational headquartered group based out India, Singapore, and Hong Kong. More importantly, 100% profitable. And as we speak, we have $0, $0 backing from any venture capitalist and private equity firm. And it's a cash rich company, which means that company is in profit, and after cost, whatever profits we get, we accumulate. It's a cash rich company. We operate our own hedge fund, which precisely means that we are a desk. Now, like I said, in our fund, there is no third party capital, which means that the whole capital in the fund is being invested by Treasury Consulting Group. There is no third party capital. More importantly, we operate our news desk, our consultancy business, our family office business, our private placement programs, our pension fund desk, our trainings, and our regulatory technologies desk, and many more business streams. In case you wish to have any information, you can WhatsApp on my personal number, which is +91 9899242978. Alternatively, you can WhatsApp on our back office, which is +91 9818485155. You know that Treasury Consulting Law Desk is in action now. And we already shot a video wherein we requested Supreme Court judgment to consider again on arbitration. And more than 7 to 8 videos covering arbitration are live on our Facebook. Probably slowly and steadily they would be live on the YouTube also, because what happened, when the video is shot, then it will go for editing, which takes time, and in a 2 to 3 week span it comes on the YouTube. But immediately after the shot, it comes on the Facebook. Now, Lawdesk would be shooting the investment banking videos, arbitration videos, probably commercial arbitration videos, maritime insurance, and many more videos in the next 1 to 2 years. Preferably, just like in 2014, when we started our YouTube channel and we shot many videos covering financial markets and changed the perception of the people that financial markets are much bigger than what people are envisaging and what these books are showing. Similar would be what it is going to happen in the law also. And I assure you, before December 2022, we would have many law videos on the cards. And we as an organization would be changing the mindset of the people that law is a very big topic and it is beyond degree. I always a strong believer of the fact that degree is nothing but a waste of time. The world and the life is beyond degree. Steve Jobs, Larry Ellison, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. There are numerous examples which we have, and they proved on very often basis that degree is a waste of time. And I am one of the strong believers of this fact. I have done just MBA, and after that I not done any CFA, any CA, any CPA. But today there is hardly any institution Treasury Consulting not challenged. Whether this is International Monetary Fund, whether this is World Trade Organization, whether this is EY, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, G7 banks, governments, regulator, there is hardly any institution we not challenged. And there is hardly any institution who accepted our challenge. That is also a fact. because they know that if they're going to be accept this challenge, what would be the ground reality. But that is a separate thing, that on our Facebook profile, on our LinkedIn profile, on our Twitter profile, they keep following us. They never accept the challenge, but they will follow you. That is the beauty of the game in 2021. Let's come to the main point. I don't want it to name the author of the book. I don't think it is professional to name the author of the book, but you know that I am an avid reader. Avid reader means the person who spare a considerable time in reading. I read newspapers, magazines, books. Every month I order books from Amazon. I take printouts of the documents which are in the public, especially the annual reports of the banks which are on their websites. And I study them. And very soon you will see that Treasury Consulting will start making videos on the 10K of the US banks. We would be slowly and eventually challenging the 10Ks of the G7 banks. US banks, not Indian banks. Indian banks don't deserve our attention. Their reporting is third class. So forget. When it comes to law, the most important thing which I strongly believe is drafting. But unfortunately, what is happening is that people are pushing that drafting is all about the grammatical mistakes. Rather, I would take the legal words. That would be very interesting, because drafting is not all about sanity clauses. Now, what the hell is sanity clause? When you draft a contract, there are many mistakes going to happen. So please don't think that when you are drafting a mistake, there is drafting a contract, there is no mistake. It is impossible. Because whenever you're going to be drafting a contract, there are mistakes. Mistakes are bound to happen. But now we are in 2021. So let's hold for a minute and go to 25 years ago. 25 years ago, in the courts, we were having typewriters, typists, those who used to type tick, 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 tick very fast. Then what it used to happen that people used to focus more on grammatical errors. So 25 years ago, what it used to happen, people used to, tick, 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 draft a contract. Then this go to one level more, who would be doing the grammatical mistake. Then we'll go to one level more, who would be scrutinizing again. Finally, it will go to the judge, and then the final copy of the order, or maybe the PIL, public interest litigation, or maybe whatever, it will come before the court. But now things are changed. It is 2021. We have computers, we have iPhone, we have iPad, we have iMac, we have artificial intelligence. If you open the Google and you take a note that there are many platforms which we have in the world, and I'm not naming any specific platform, it is not professional, who have artificial intelligence and they can scrutinize your grammatical errors. And I'm using one of them, by the way, professionally. Even if you have a document of 5,000 pages, 6,000 pages, 5,000 words, 6,000 words, 10,000 words, 20,000 words, probably 40,000 words, it doesn't make any difference to this platform. You just upload your document and it will check probably lesser than 5 minutes. You have another platform, I'm again not naming, not professional, whereby you can change the tone of the document. So example, there are two things. One is known as syntax, one is known as semantics. Syntax means what you writing, grammatical errors, punctuation, whatever. Semantic means what you are writing and what you wanted to convey. So what you are planning to convey is semantic. That's more important. In 2021, there is another thing, but take a hold. So 25 years ago, in the legal document, what was important is syntax and semantics. Now there is one more thing: syntax, semantics, and didactic. Now, what the hell is that? I'm not naming the politicians of any specific country, but politicians across the globe are having a standard trait. Now, trait in English means the quality. They are having a standard trait, and this trait is called: they pretend something, they preach something, they speak something, and do something. Some countries' politicians are known for that. They continue to speak X, 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 but they do Y, Y, Y. They will say X, 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 but they do Z, Z, Z. This is called didactic, which means you are giving a lot of lectures, but when it comes to the practical implications, you are nowhere closer to the lectures. Central banks across the globe are known for this, just like Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve, it is not that this year they ended up in a scandal. Effective 2008, in fact, before 2008, there were questions raised on the credibility of the Federal Reserve. By that time, I was very young, so no YouTube channel of me, but now I am raising the question. So there are three things in the legal documentation. One is syntax, what you wanted to convey. One is semantics. No, syntax means what you are writing. Semantics, what you are writing, what you wanted to convey. Didactic, X, 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 reality, Y, Y, Y. When it comes to financial contracting, the situation is more complicated, rather highest and highest complicated, which is called functional competitiveness. We need to understand that the law students, those who are doing respective degrees from respective universities or institutions, they taught a lot about the theory. There is hardly any doubt. They read multiple law books also. There is hardly any doubt. But one important thing which they need to learn and relearn is the practical implications. Example: I started my treasury career in 2007. I think by 2008, I was on the trading desk. I encountered ISDA, International Swap and Derivative Association. Here comes 2008 financial scandal, financial crisis. You name the bank, one by one, banks were like a trash of cards. Financial markets were completely freezed and a hell lot of mess on the cards. It was happening. Now, ISDA, International Swap and Derivative Association, immediately introduced RDS, Risk Disclosure Statement. They introduced CSA, Credit Support Annex. Now what happened? We saw this. We dealt with this. We know the flip side of these documents. Flip side means the weakness. Now we are 2 months away from LIBOR transition. First phase of LIBOR transition. Actually, we are 8 months away from LIBOR transition, because the LIBOR transition would happen in June 2022. God knows whether it would happen or not. Now what happened? Now we are dealing with called fallback language. And there are many flip sides of fallback language. My videos would be on the way very soon. Now we know that the flip sides of ISDA contracts are more severe, rather blunder compared to what it was. But how do we know this? Because of one thing: functional competitiveness. There are numerous books, without quoting the example, who consistently speak about the semantic and syntax of the drafting. but I always speak about the functional competitiveness of drafting. So example, now this is a hypothetical example. Please don't treat that both companies which I mentioned, they are actually doing into that kind of business. Please don't treat that. Amazon India wanted to have a business with Tesla. They want to have 2,200,000 Tesla cars. Now it's a big contract. It's not a small contract. Having said that, both parties are financially strong. Amazon India, Tesla. A proper arbitration, proper commercial contract is required with commercial arbitration. Now, is the commercial contract is all about drafting? I have hell lot of applications and one of them I am using. I just need to draft. I can draft a contract in less than 2 days. But what is more important? Even this app will not help me because this app is nowhere closer to a concept called functional competitiveness. Have you ever seen EULA? Even when you buy Apple phone, you buy any Microsoft software, you buy any computer, you buy any iPad, there is a EULA, End User License Agreement. Any mobile phone, we tend to take this, throw this in a dustbin. No one cares. And in fact, companies are also responsible for this because it is printed in a very minute words. You need a microscope to study that. And no one holding the time to study this. But if you read End User License Agreement, which are available on Google, you will study that the most important thing in this document is not about drafting. Of course, drafting is immaculate and keep changing. The most important thing is functional competitiveness. Example, Apple End User License Agreement will speak about the functional competitiveness of Apple. What Apple do and what Apple will not do. Microsoft Windows End User License Agreement is very clear. What they do, what they not do. Steve Jobs, it's not about what you wanted to do. It's about what you don't want it to do. So you should not be aware that this I will do. You should be aware this I will not do. And once you are confident that this I will not do, then it is the deadliest combination in the world, because 99% of the people of the globe even do not know what they wanted to do, and you know what you are not going to do. Similarly, the end user license agreement of Apple, Microsoft, and good companies are perfect. Of course, not 10 out of 10 because there is no scope of improvement. Improvement is iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, now iPhone 13. My best wish is iPhone 30, iPhone 40. But their documents are perfect. How? Drafting, definitely. But functional competitiveness. Apple documents is all about Apple capabilities. Apple document is about everything under and over the scope of the product. Microsoft document is all about the Microsoft capabilities, the capability of the Microsoft product. What may happen, what may not happen, everything is covered in this document explicitly. Henceforth, it is very important for law students, be it any country, India or maybe different countries, to make sure that the functional competitiveness is very essential. And when it comes to the international documents, ISDA. master service lending agreement, master service repo agreement, master service, custody agreement. Have you seen the agreement signed by the State Street or many custodians with their clients? Immaculate, perfection, functional competitiveness. So guys, if we are in the law, we have hell lot of tool available on the Google, and they are charging nothing. Don't think that they are charging $1 million of fees, $2 billion of fees. No, they just charge you 70, 80, $100 per year. And the service they would be providing in 70 to $80 is more than what they are charging actually. But one thing these tools cannot provide, and of course, how can they provide that? It is the functional competitiveness. So the legal students, the legal professionals, they need to learn that functional competitiveness is the most important thing. Let's take another example. LIC IPO is going on, maybe coming next year, 2022. Forget LIC IPO. Let's take I'm just creating a hypothetical example. Say Apple, again, my favorite company. Apple wanted to raise 4 billion in the form of bonds. Hypothetical example, though it's a cash rich company. Now in this 4 billion which Apple wanted to raise, Apple need to draft a contract with their investment bankers. Suppose Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citi, top 3, Morgan Stanley. The contract has to be immaculate. All top 4, Goldman, JP, Morgan Stanley, Citi, would be very clear to Apple, this is what we will not do. And this is what we do. So that at the end of the day, God forbid, if there is any ambiguity, they are clear. The arbitration clause of the investment banking would be immaculate. But did you ever thought it's all about drafting? It's all about the sanity clauses. If, buts, has been, have been, if been, we been, you been. No. It's about the financial competitiveness these big boys, we call in financial language as big boys, Goldman Sachs, probably Citi, Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan, years of experience, extreme experience, would be putting in the piece of paper in such a way it would not only help Apple, but it would also help them. That's more important. That is really more important thing. But we hardly bothers. Now, I would like to request everybody in the legal fraternity that when it comes to the financial contracting, the very important thing is the commercial part, pricing, and another important thing is the financial competitiveness which you are putting in that contract. And when it comes to technology, Apple phone, Microsoft software, Tesla cars, probably hell lot of technological products, big products, Google search engines, Facebook products and all. The technological concept which is functional for them. Of course, technology is functional for Google, it is functional for Apple, it is functional for Amazon, for all. It has to be immaculate. So guys, focus on functional competitiveness. That's very important if you really wish to grow in the world of law. Because now I have the tools, the drafting to be done by the tools. Even I have the tools who can do NDA, non-disclosure agreement. I have the tools who can readily create non-disclosure agreement for me. Why do I need? So if I wanted to have a non-disclosure agreement with anyone, I have the ready-made templates on the Google. I have the tool which I'm using. I just put this into a tool and all sanity clause will resolve in less than 5 minutes. But one thing which this tool cannot give and will never give is the kind of business I am going to be doing with my counterparty and the functional piece of that business. So example, I am doing the asset valuation for my client, which we do. That tool will not tell me whether the asset valuation proposition which I am putting is correct or not. No, not at all. Tool will tell me if been, has been, had been, what been, you been is correct or not. So guys, please focus on that. Law is really a very interesting thing, and I tend to believe that law is all about interpretations. There is hardly any doubt, and I strongly believe that. But more than interpretations, law is all about functional competitiveness. I would like to conclude my video with an example. If your knowledge is this, your interpretations is this. If your knowledge is this, your interpretations is this. If your knowledge is beyond, your interpretations would be beyond. If you focus on the functional competitiveness, you able to interpret in a way which no one. Rest you know, because 99% of the people I ever met, they are always focused on orthodox things. But I strongly believe that whether this is financial market or whether this is law, functional competitiveness is something which is beyond the cup of tea for most of the people. And our legal desk, whether this is investment banking documentation, whether this is ISTA, whether this is repo contracting, whether this is loan agreements, whether this is arbitration agreements, commercial arbitration, maritime arbitration, Baltic, charter party agreements, we would be putting functional competitiveness which no one can put. And I tend to request you also to have this. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You know my personal number +91 9899 242 978. Thank you.